faith. You're grafted in because of your faith. Don't be high-minded, be not high-minded, but fair. For if God spared not the natural branches, the Jews who were disobedient, neither will he spare thee, that is Gentile Christians who become disobedient. That's what he's talking about here. That's a warning. Now, he's also called Elijah. Now, he's not Elijah incarnated because incarnation is a false doctrine. We're not incarnated. So incarnation that the Hindus teach is wrong. And we know that to be the case. But we'll not go off onto that right now. Behold, he says, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the great and terrible day of the Lord cometh. For the Lord come. The great and terrible day of the Lord Jehovah come. So Elijah is going to come before that great and terrible day. Now, what is the great and terrible day? That's a good question. And we'll not delve into it in much detail, but it has to be something that came after John was here. And so it would be the crucifixion of Jesus is a very distinct possibility. It may be the destruction of Jerusalem, though it's another possibility. And so this is a great and terrible day. I think it may be the crucifixion of Jesus, but it could be the destruction of Jerusalem. It could refer to what happened in Acts 2, but that's not a terrible day. That's a great day, but not terrible. So I would rule that out as being a possibility. John was not the person of Elijah. Some thought he was, say. In John 1:21, we see, and they asked him, what then? They're asking John the Baptist, art thou Elijah? He said, I am not. I'm not the person of Elijah. They, art thou then the prophet? And that would be referring back to Deuteronomy, where Moses had said, the prophet like unto me shall God raise up. Say, art thou he? And he answered, no, I'm not the prophet. The prophet there was Messiah. So he answered no to both questions. So he's not literally Elijah, but Jesus said he was Elijah. And so Elijah would come, according to Malachi 4:5. But Jesus used a metaphor when he called him Elijah. And if ye be willing to receive it, this is Elijah that is coming. He's talking about John the Baptist. So what does it mean? Is there a contradiction here? John said, I'm not Elijah, John 1:21. He is Elijah. So what's the explanation? It's not a contradiction. John is not literally the person of Elijah, but he came in the spirit and the power of Elijah, like Elijah. Preaching was in the spirit and power of Elijah. We see this in Luke 1:17. And he shall go before his face. Whose face? Before the face of Messiah, in the spirit and power of Elijah. So it's going to be the spirit of disposition, attitude, just like Elijah, the prophet. And to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and disobedient to walk in the wisdom of the good, just to make ready for the Lord, of people prepared for him. So he prepared a bunch of people for him. His work was preparatory, and we got to get that in our hearts. We have to see that in our minds. He was preparing people for Jesus, for the Messiah. Other questions so far? Preaching was in the spirit of Elijah. Let's go back to Malachi now 4, verses 5 and 6. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the great and terrible day of the Lord come, or Jehovah Yahweh come. And what shall Elijah do? He shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So now it's a warning. Turn back to God, or you'll be punished. I'm going to smite the earth with a curse. And John was telling him to repent, or as we have heard it said, turn or burn. Turn or burn. And so he's telling them to repent. Many times, a lot of times, the prophet's message was to tell the people to go back and obey God, to turn from their sin and turn to the obedience to God. And so they were warned, there's going to be punishment if you don't, but there'll be a blessing if you do. God has both a carrot and a stick, as we say in the United States. The carrot is a reward, the stick is the punishment. So what he has, he is going to reward you. If you do what's good, you'll get a blessing. If you refuse to serve God, and turn from him and commit evil, then there'll be a curse. It's that simple. Blessings and curses. He was the son of Zacharias, or Zachariah, and Elizabeth, who were descendants of Aaron, of the tribe of Levi. John was the one who prepared the way, the harbinger spoken of in Isaiah, Luke 3, verses 4 through 6. He was a messenger of Malachi 3:1. He was not literally Elijah, but he was in the spirit and power of Elijah. Came in the attitude with the way Elijah preached. You can dress like Elijah when you look and study Elijah, how he dressed. Now, are there questions anyone has?
Sir, I have one question, sir.
What's that?
Sir, in Acts chapter 19, Paul gives a rebaptism in Ephesus. Did every apostle got rebaptism? Because every apostle got baptism with this John the Baptist.
Those of Acts 19, I contend, were baptized by Apollos. You see this in Acts 18, he was preaching that baptism. And this is many years after Pentecost. So we'll be looking at this passage in some detail in later lessons. Okay. So do you have the outlines we have? If you don't have the outlines, I'll send them to you. Do you have the outlines of this material? Tyson, do you have the outlines? Henry?
Sir.
Yes. Do you have the outlines of the material that I sent you? Did I send you the outlines?
Sir, I can't able to understand, sir.
Did I send you the notes on this class?
Sir, I can't able to understand these things, sir.
Okay.
Your pronunciation, something I feel they're difficult to understand.
Okay. Let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and then we'll communicate further. Okay.